Hi, my name is Ebenezer Safwadu. I'm a data specialist and welcome to my YouTube channel. Kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you've been following my channel, you know that I've been interviewing people on this platform concerning Power BI. We are currently on the Power BI Gurus series, and my fourth guest is Reza Rad. He is a Microsoft Regional Director. He's also an MVP for the Power Platform. He's also the CEO of the Reza Rad, the RADACAD Academy, which actually trains a lot of people on YouTube and in person. I must confess, he's the first person who I watched his video on YouTube after my Microsoft training. So I have a very soft spot for Reza Rad. He's very much experienced in Power BI. So Reza Rad, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, really. Good to be here, and thanks everyone for watching.
All right. I'm sure it's late in the night in New Zealand.
Not that late. It's 10 past 7 p.m., but it is good.
Okay. So Reza Rad, can you tell us about yourself and how from that small place in New Zealand you've been able to reach out to the world? I must also add that he is the organizer and the convener for the Power BI World Summit. So he recently just organized the World Summit. I mean, it's the biggest event that happened in Power BI with almost all the MVPs and even the Microsoft VP for Business Intelligence representing. So Reza, tell us about yourself and how you've been able to succeed in Power BI in your small corner.
Sure. So New Zealand is definitely like a very corner of the world if you want to look at it that way. Um, so before COVID, we have been traveling around all the time. Like me and Leila, probably like you've seen us like 50% of our time been traveling around the world. We had our local user group in Auckland, New Zealand, and we had traveled a lot around the world in USA, in Europe, different parts of Europe, South Africa as well. I never been in Ghana. I like to be in there sometime, but never had a chance. Like different parts of Asia, Australia, a lot. So before COVID, that was how we actually went around the world, spread whatever we knew about Power BI and other Microsoft BI technologies. We also had a conference here in New Zealand, which was basically like local. It was mainly local attendees from New Zealand attending there, but we had the speakers from all around the world. After COVID happened, like it changed the life of many people. The travel definitely changed. So we didn't really had a chance to meet even our other Power BI fellow MVPs or any other like Power BI gathering. So what we thought was to kind of run this virtual event, which was meant to be for like gathering people, and we put the price as a minimal price so that it can be affordable for anyone to attend. And we've been glad that it worked. We had like a great support from a lot of MVPs and speakers, like more than 100 speakers, as you mentioned, from Microsoft Power BI team. Arun and Amir and many other from Microsoft Power BI team helped us as well. So we are glad that that worked out, and that was a good event with 5 days of event, more than 100 sessions. We had over 3,700 attendees, and the goal is to continue it even after COVID, because what we realized is that sometimes for some people traveling around is not really an easy option, even if there is no COVID.
Yeah.
For many reasons. Some people have to take care of the family. Some people cannot, let's say, be at that certain venue because a lot of big conferences normally are either happening in USA or some special parts of Europe. So for people in other countries, that's a lot of expense to go to those events, and it is a lot of like travel time and things like that. So we are thinking that this would definitely continue as a virtual event, even when the world goes back to normal after COVID, so that it fills the gap of having that ability to connect the whole world. This is a world that we have, like internet, everyone has internet, everyone uses YouTube to watch videos. So there is a place for a conference that connects people through internet, and we hope that helps a lot of people.
Okay. So, I mean, how did you get in touch with Power BI? How many years have you been using Power BI? And a little bit about your background also.
Yeah, so I mainly come from like a very long time ago, probably like 25 years ago or something like that. I've been application developer. I've been developing with VB.NET, C#, and SQL. Those times I've been application developers, and then very quickly I moved towards database development. I liked actually how the database design works, how the data is designed in it. I liked writing T-SQL queries. That also very fast moved me towards data transformations. Those days we are talking about DTS packages in SQL 7, like very long time ago, and that interest in the whole data transformation technologies, doing data warehouse, dimensional model, all of those, the Kimball strategy for building data warehouse dimensional model, that gradually combined with the new technologies on Microsoft BI sites such as SSIS, SSAS, SSRS, those being things that I've been working a lot, like from almost 20 years ago. I've worked on some books on that areas as well. And then like that was almost up to around 2012 when Microsoft released like their tabular version of analysis services. And that was when I moved towards like learning that part a little bit more, used a lot of Power Pivot. Then gradually other Power BI components came in, such as Power Query. I remember I used that at the time that it was called Data Explorer in Excel. I actually remember the time that Matt Mason showed me that as a demo. We've been on a conference in Hong Kong. It was called Tech Days Hong Kong, something like that. And we've been in a speaker room. Matt Mason actually showed me that this is how it looks like. It was really nice to see it, and that was the first time I looked at Power Query in that view, which after a few months it actually been named as Power Query. So I worked with that a lot. So that is something like around 2013. And then in 2015, when Power BI Designer came, it wasn't that much unfamiliar. It was like just combination of Power Pivot, Power View, and Power Query combined together, which then I started writing a lot of content about Power BI in my blog, and in 2016 it became actually really Power BI Desktop. So that is how I get into the world of Power BI.
Power BI. Okay, I see. That's been a long-standing experience in data, from writing code as a programmer to data management and now to business intelligence. I think from your videos it's clear of your understanding of the basics in data management, which is very good as a business intelligence consultant. But I would like to ask you, I mean, especially for my viewers' sake, maybe somebody is now contemplating, why should I learn Power BI? Like, what would be your response? Why should anybody want to learn Power BI?
I would say, like, if it was like 10 years ago when there was no Power BI or not even self-service BI, like 10, 15 years ago, BI was for BI professionals. was a job for that type of people, like more like a, let's say, application developer. There was a job as a BI developer, as a BI consultant, to do that kind of things. So at those times, 10, 15 years ago, I would say that is a specific job category. You would have needed to have some special, let's say, not abilities, but let's say special skills and characteristics to be in that job, because that's like working with computer, doing things like that. But nowadays, when the self-service technology came, it actually enabled like basically everyone to do data analysis, even if you are not a BI professional. You can still do data analysis. You just connect it to the sample data you have. That sample data can be even your email inbox. Like you can get data from your email and just present it, like analyzing how many emails you get throughout the day, or what hours in a day you get more emails. You can connect to Facebook, analyze how many likes you get from your friends, and analyze based on that. You can analyze to Google Analytics, analyze your data. Data is actually everywhere. Even in our personal life, there are tons of data everywhere. What we can do is that now we can analyze them. We don't really need another professional to come to us and analyze it for us. We can analyze it ourselves. So that is one of the reasons that learning Power BI is quite good, because it enables you to do that analysis. And Power BI Desktop basically is free, right? You don't really need to pay anything for it. If you want to publish it and share it for others, yep, you'll need a license for that. But if you just want to use it for yourself, you can just use Power BI Desktop. You connect to the data source, you analyze it, and then you realize that in any type of job, I would literally say any type of job, there are data that needs to be analyzed. If you are in manufacturing business, if you are in marketing, if you are in sales, if you are in HR, in any types of business, there are data, and these data can be analyzed now just by you. If you learn that skill, which is not really complicated, I would say then it would be well worth of the time spent, because then you'll have the tool to analyze your own data.
Okay, so for viewers, I mean, Reza had talked about a lot of the reasons why you should learn Power BI, because it's easy to use. Data is everywhere. Now, because of self-service BI, you don't necessarily have to get a professional to analyze your data for you. Anybody can today analyze their own data. More of everyone is becoming a data analyst and a data scientist on their own. And Power BI offers you that flexibility of adding that skill. But Reza, the next question would be, in your take, why would you recommend Power BI as against other tools that are in the market?
So when it comes to self-service data analysis, there are a number of tools. There's Power BI, Tableau, ClickSense. These are, let's say, the main top three. And then there are many other tools as well. Every vendor comes with their own tools, with their own product. It's a new category of analysis, so every vendor comes with their own tool. The reason that I work with Power BI is that it is quite like, I would say, comprehensive compared to a tool such as Tableau. Tableau is a great visualization tool, but if I use Tableau, then I would need to use another tool to do my data modeling in it, my calculations in it, because Tableau doesn't have that engine. So I probably need to use something like analysis services to do my analysis, and then Tableau for visualization. Or if I use, let's say, another tool like ClickSense, that comes with other limitations, right? So one of the reasons that I normally prefer Power BI and suggest that to other people is that it is quite comprehensive. It has all the elements from getting data, doing transformation, doing the modeling, calculations, the powerful calculation engine DAX in Power BI, then visualization part of it, Then the sharing mechanism, the Power BI service, all of that environment for sharing, the deployment, all of that together, it builds actually quite comprehensive tool set, which is not that much expensive if you compare it with many other self-service tools. I would call it as a cheap self-service tool. So comparing that price and all of that features that we get, and also another thing that normally you want from a good tool is that it becomes updated frequently. Like Power BI updates like almost every month.
Every
We'll
month.
see that
Yeah.
amount of updates. So all of these combined together makes it really a powerful tool, and that is why this is like in the past few years, this has been always the top in the Magic Quadrant of Gartner.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see. So once again, Power BI comes top with the particular survey done by Gartner Analytics. I think for the past I think almost 14 years in a row, Power BI or Microsoft has come tops. And for the past 5 years, Power BI has been reigning as a leader in the quadrant. So it's a very good tool, very useful tool that you would gain a lot. Like Reza said, it's very comprehensive. You don't necessarily have to go outside Power BI to do any other thing in terms of your data analysis. Right from the start, from getting the data, you can connect to any other source that you can think of, over hundreds of, like you said, your emails, your from Facebook to your Excel data to your SQL databases to all the new databases that are actually happening, from your data lakes, whichever data source you can think of. I think you can actually connect to it. And he's talking about the fact that one cool part of it is it's free, and if you even want to publish for others to see, it's only a few dollars, which makes it very, very competitive. And that is one of the selling points of BI. And I want to ask this question now concerning organizations. Why should organizations want to actually adopt Power BI in their operations? And what benefits are there for the organization? Like aside individuals, what benefits are there for organizations?
So organizations normally gets the most benefit because data-driven decision is the best type of decision to be made. Like, for example, let's say if I am a CEO of, let's say, a bank, I would make much better decision based on the data that I already have. Like, for example, I see how many people are getting loan are in what type of categories. Then I can help them to run their businesses and also help my business to run if I'm in, let's say, manufacturing business, based on the amount of purchases have been made, based on the time that has been passed from the order until the time that the order has been delivered. There are a lot of areas that this data-driven decision can help. This is a word that we don't just make decision and see what happens. Now we have the data, we know our like action of our customers, our client everywhere based on the products and the services that we provide to them. We just need to like analyze them, and based on that analysis make informed decision. And of course there are again many other ways to do that, but Power BI, because it has that capability that brings the whole end-to-end possibilities, as an organization, it becomes really cheap for them to like upskill one or two individuals or more, depends on the scale, to learn Power BI and then to use it to analyze the data and help the board of directors, the executive level, the SLT, senior leadership team, and anyone who wants to make the decision to have an informed decision. That would gain a lot of value in their companies and businesses in the long run.
Okay, so even companies are more to have more to benefit in the use of Power BI, especially the enterprise version, and that they'll be able to get insights to make insight-based decision or data-backed decisions, especially because today data seems to be everywhere. We are collecting data on everything and nothing. So by using Power BI, organizations can easily analyze the data and actually help improve their bottom line. But also, the next question I'd like to ask is, what are the opportunities in Power BI, in learning Power BI now, especially in the world market and even locally? Like, are there opportunities for somebody who wants to actually learn Power BI?
You mean places that they can go and
They
learn?
can work with the skill.
Yeah, so there are many actually places to learn about Power BI. If you are looking, for example, at some free learning resources, there are tons of YouTube channels. We do have YouTube channels. There are many other YouTube channels as well. A lot of great resources to learn Power BI from. A lot of blogs as well. Again, we do have a blog, but there are many other blogs as well that you can use as a resource. Books are other source of information. We do have a set of Power BI from Rookie to Rockstar book, which is free, available for anyone to use. And of course, there are many other books also in the market, and courses. So I would say these four are, yeah.
You said you have a book called Rookie to Rockstar,
Yes.
which
Yeah,
is
it's collection
available
of
on
four.
your website.
Yes. Yeah. Downloadable from the website. Yes.
Okay. So for
Yeah.
viewers who want to learn Power BI, just go to radacad.com and then you'll be able to get the free download version from Rookie to Rockstar. I'm sure most of you would want to be rookies, to turn from rookies to rockstars. So that's a great resource there. All right, you can continue.
Yeah, definitely. And courses as well. Like we do have a lot of video courses in RADACAD Academy, like a lot, like at least 19 different Power BI courses in our academy. A lot of high quality video courses from me, Leila, and some other MVPs and experts. And of course, there are other courses you can find in Pluralsight, Udemy, other platforms as well. So I would say these are the main four channels to start learning: courses, blogs, books, and videos. But then you also need some kind of like support channel to get up to date. I would say Twitter, LinkedIn, these are good social media places to get in touch with those who are working with Power BI. Follow them, be in touch, and whenever there's a news about Power BI, you'll know about that. Following Microsoft blog about updates coming in Power BI. They normally have it in there. You can watch it and see the blogs. And there are some channels that mainly specify the updates every time that there's an update. So looking at those updates, and there's also a community website, community.powerbi.com, which is a place that everyone can go and ask their questions. Get responses, more like a forum that you go and ask questions, get responses. With the help of local user groups, like wherever you are in the world, normally there are user groups around your area. They might not be like very close. They might not be in the city that you are, but they are normally around. You should be able to drive there or get there somehow by public transport. It shouldn't be far away. That is a place that you get familiar with others who are doing Power BI work, and that builds a community. If you have questions, you'll get in touch with them as well.
Okay. So I think you've elaborated on all the resources available from YouTube to books to blogs to courses, and finally even on social media, following some particular people like yourself and other MVPs. and you'll be able to get up-to-date info, as well as the community, like you said. In Ghana, I've created the Ghana user group. You can join it as we build on more people to actually improve on our skill. Well, the question what I really wanted to know is whether the skill set of learning Power BI is marketable in today's world. In that, would I be more better placed in the marketplace if I have a skill like knowing how to use Power BI?
Yes, absolutely. Because if you know how to use Power BI, then regardless of the job function you are doing, you can also help analysis in that job function. Because these days we have a lot of data analysts. Data analysts are not necessarily coming from BI background. They might come from a lot of other background. Like, for example, you might come from finance, but now you can use Power BI to analyze finance data. You might come from, let's say, HR, but now have the ability to analyze the HR data using Power BI. So having that skill set helps you to find better jobs. And I see these days actually a lot of jobs in the market that are not BI related at all. They are not technical, but they ask for the ability of people, for the skill of people to work with tools such as Power BI to analyze the data. So using those, you'll have better chance to secure better jobs in the market for sure.
Okay. With your experience in the market, what do you think the future of Power BI is?
I think Power BI is still at the beginning. There are still a lot of things to add to it. Like, it is very young still, so I wouldn't call it like at the end. It is still beginning. There are still tons of data needs to be analyzed. There are still tons of organizations need to leverage Power BI to analyze their data. So the skill set you learn for this won't be wasted. It would be used for many years, even though I would say it this way, that what you learn to do self-service analytics, part of that is product agnostic. Like when you learn how to do data model, you can do that data model using any other tools as well. It might not be just for Power BI. So learning that skill is not something that would be obsolete, let's say, in 2-3 years. It would be with you for many years to come, hopefully.
Yeah, I think I side with you. I always tell people that, I mean, Microsoft Power BI is just about beginning because it's still in its very infant stages. If you follow the trend from 2016, you see clearly that it's about starting, because now that a lot of AI like the self-service is getting more and more interesting with a lot of AI capabilities and a lot of click and drag and drop being implemented, with now even visuals doing a lot of the analysis even without writing codes. So we just started, and I think it is a call for people to start now so that they have a lot of years in it with experience before it catches on. So there's a lot of opportunities out there if you start now. I mean, Microsoft is still updating Power BI every month. The May version was just released. So get on board and, I mean, start a life of data-driven decision making if you're an organization. And if you are a personal user, start by gaining some skills that makes you employable in the market. Data is everywhere. You can always pick data and start analyzing and be surprised that the insights you may be able to draw, and it may get you a job, or even you could start consulting. So Reza, you just hosted the World Microsoft Power BI Summit with almost anybody that matters in Power BI being present. It was like the go-to place for Power BI during that 4-day summit. So I would like to now delve into the summit, what you've learned, what are the highlights, and I mean, we'll go step by step. So if you could first let us know about the summit, what it was about, and what you achieved.
So the summit was basically covering anything in the world of Power BI, from, let's say, the get data experience of Power BI to doing the data modeling, writing calculations using DAX, visualizing it, working with big data, performance tuning of a Power BI report, hosting the report in the website, different sharing mechanism, using workspaces, apps, Power BI mobile experience, Power BI on-premises, which is report server, other technologies related to Power BI, such as Power Platform technologies, Power Automate, Power Apps, and also on the other side, like Azure data technologies related to Power BI, such as Azure Synapse, Azure Data Factory, a lot of things like that. So it was like it meant to be, and it was a way to have a full view of everything in the world of Power BI. And the way that the sessions were designed, it was on all levels. So we had sessions as beginner as getting started with Power BI for anyone who don't really know anything about Power BI, or getting started with DAX, getting started with Power Query. And we had sessions that was very expert level, that needed only like people who are very familiar with that specific part of the technology. That combination, we made sure that it serves all types of audience. Even we had some speakers who've been attending other sessions. They enjoyed like learning from other sessions, and we had a lot of newbies, a lot of those who haven't been used Power BI at all. But throughout that week of the conference, they learned a lot, and they had really good experiences, which then they went and start building their Power BI reports and projects with it.
Okay. So how many sessions in all were done?
I think we had something like about 108, 109.
Wow.
So more than 100 sessions. The way that it was done was that it was actually like in each day we had 8 rooms in parallel running these sessions. And then we repeated each session 3 times. That was to ensure that everyone in the world, whatever time zone they are, they can at least get one of these time slot and attend in those. So the way it was done was that people attended like a pre-recorded video. The reason for pre-recorded was that to make sure that we have a really high quality of the video, we have subtitle, we have everything designed, we made sure that demos, everything working. So they watched the video. After that, we normally had the speaker live through Teams, like this Teams call, and like attendees could join that call, have a video, audio conversation if they have any questions, talk with the speaker, which a lot of attendees really like that experience, to be in touch with the speaker, with the expert, ask their questions. And that was done throughout 5 days. So 5 days, 8 sessions in parallel, repeated 3 times. So in fact, we had like something like over 350 sessions, but because there was like repeated 3 times each, it is something like a little bit over 100 sessions in general.
Okay, so what were the highlights? I mean, as an organizer, what were the highlights that you would say was one of your turning points, or things that you saw as the things that are useful for people to know with in the whole sessions, the whole organizing of the summit? So I want to know the highlights of the summit. What were things that you learned from the summit?
So there were a lot of features on the roadmap on the enterprise scale, which also announced in Microsoft Business Application Summit after that, like in a week ago. things such as Power BI Goals was really interesting feature announced recently, or on the big data scale, the ability to have some of the aggregations built. These are some of these features are, of course, features that are coming a little bit later, but there are a lot of advancement in the way that Power BI works with the enterprise, very high scale data, trillions of data, and it works really fast. So there are a lot of enhancement on that, and also the way that everything works much simpler. Like previously, if we wanted to use bookmarks, we had to do a lot of pre-planning for it, a lot of configuration for it. These are getting easier and easier each time. If you are doing something now that might take a little bit time because you have to do some configuration, Power BI team normally is looking at that and changing the way that this has to be done. So a lot of changes on that side. One of the very big highlights, I would say, is Power Automate integration with Power BI, because it helps not just, let's say, for the refresh of Power BI, it helps a lot on the way that you can do automated data-driven actions, such as, for example, based on a click of a button in Power BI, you can say, for example, get this field from this table and then combine it with another field, send it to this. So you can even send emails to people based on the field that comes from. You can do like limitless things with that. That integration of Power Automate with Power BI is definitely amazing. I actually have a blog last week that I mentioned some of the highlights of Microsoft Business Application Summit, which many of them have been also discussed throughout the Power BI Summit, which I invite everyone to go and watch that. That's quite comprehensive list.
Okay, so you can go to RADACAD's blog and make sure that you get yourself educated on the highlights, especially with regards to Power Automate and how you can use Power Automate to transform the way. It's more of like an extended service. It adds to the feel and the usefulness of Power BI, because let's say you could want to download data, you'd want your users of your reports to download data back to Excel. You could send emails. It's more of a messenger that you can code it to actually do whatever you want it to do. And it's very, very one of the game changers in the use of Power BI right now. Thank you very much, Reza. Before we end, I mean, once you are here and you're a very good trainer, I would like to know whether, like, how does one start right from the beginning? I mean, I'm new to Power BI and I want to start. What are the things that I should look out for in learning Power BI?
I would say the best place to start is always download Power BI Desktop, and then start by something. I mean, it really depends on what is your preference choice of learning. Some people are, let's say, book people. They like to learn through books. Some people are video people. They like to watch YouTube videos and learn from videos. No matter what like your primary source of learning is, there is a Power BI content for that. So start downloading Power BI, look at that source of information, and then start doing things. The best way to learn it is by doing things. There are data sets that you can try on. I normally use the Adventures Works Excel data set because that's Excel, quite simple for everyone, and everyone can go and download it from our website as well. It's free, available over there. You can download that. It's a simple data set and it is free, available. You can start doing sample analysis based on that. I would say that is best way to start.
Okay. So you start by downloading the app by doing. I think it's one of the things that all the gurus have been reiterating, that you only get better by practicing. So just start Practice, 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 and you get there. I know, I mean, in Power BI or in even data analysis in general, you first get the data, you transform the data because the data would always not be in the form that you'd want it to be, especially because you're using another tool. You'd have to transform. I know you are very big on Power Query editor. So, I mean, what are some of the transformational hacks that you would tell anybody? Because the first video I watched on data transformation after, like I said, was from you, the merge and append queries. What are the transformational hacks that you would tell anybody learning Power BI? I've gotten my data into Power BI. Now I'm in Power Query Editor. What is some of like the things to look out for when I'm transforming data?
I would say, as you said, merge and append. These are the two very common transformation. Pivot and unpivot. I would say mostly unpivot. Depends on the data, of course, and other types of transformation. A lot of filtering transformation, like filtering by date, filtering by, let's say, text, filtering by other things, transformations that I suggest still like very common are aggregations such as group by and doing some like adding aggregations on top of group by. I would say these are the most type of common transformation, date related transformation. These are those that are happening a lot. Then depends on the use case. You might use a lot of like other simple transformations as well.
Okay. Then we'll come to modeling, which is the star schema that we've always talked about with regards to Power BI, because it works best in Power BI. What do you have to say on that?
Data modeling is more like learning principles. You don't you don't practice data modeling by sitting behind Power BI. You practice data modeling by pen and paper. That is actually what I explained throughout my book, which is Basics of Power BI Modeling. It's not rocket science. It's not complicated. It is very simple, but to learn that, you need to think a little bit outside of the normal database design practice. People who are coming towards Power BI from DBA background, they find it a little bit hard to do modeling in this side because it's a little bit different from the principles that we learn in database design. And those people who are coming from Excel background, they find it a little bit hard because the way that relationship between tables works and things like that might be new to them. Either way, that is the foundation of your BI and analysis. Regardless of the technology you are using, you have to learn that bit. Fortunately, that bit is not complicated. It is easy to learn. I definitely suggest everyone to go and check it out. It is not something that you learn all at once and then you go and learn other things. This is just like ongoing practice. You have to improve your data modeling skills through the time.
All right. So data modeling is another skill you'd have to learn. It's quite technical. You need to, and you said your book actually teaches on that.
Yes.
Data modeling in Power BI. All right.
Basics of data
Then
modeling.
there is also the DAX, almighty DAX, which is very rich language that we all know that it's holds the magic in Power BI. And what are the suggestions you would give and the advice you would give in learning DAX, which is data analysis expression? For those who do not know, it's the engine that holds Power BI together, that makes you be able to get various type of insights from your data. All right.
Yeah, I would say DAX is like, for example, if you are going to butchery, you'll find the butcher definitely needs a kind of knife to do that. I would call DAX as that. If you are working with Power BI, but you don't know how to write DAX statements, then you are limited. There are limited things you can do. You have to search around and find a way to to use DAX statements that are provided. But if you upskill yourself and try to learn how DAX statements can be written, then you can do limitless types of calculations, any types of calculations, because the language is so rich. You can write almost any types of analysis. It's just finding it, how to do it. But the thing is that, again, this is not something you learn in a very advanced level at day one. This is all by practice, by doing it again and again. So the more you do it, the more you learn it. But DAX is something that you have to do it like constantly so that you don't forget it.
All right. And I'm sure just then after doing your DAX, you then do your visualizations, and that is mostly the art part to make sure that your data is appealing to the end user. Do you have any hacks on that also?
Yeah, the visualization is the art of first understanding how the technical side of it works, like, for example, how to do things in Power BI, how to do this visualization in Power BI. And also, one part of it is the graphics, the art, the user experience design, learning how to put colors together, learning how to put that design together, what are visualization best practices. There are many good resources for learning about that. One of the resources I always recommend is Alberto Cairo. He's a professor at one of the universities in United States, and he has some books on it. I definitely recommend checking out those. Those are not technical books, but they are explaining how, in principle, you would visualize things in a best way.
I think I read one of his book, When Charts Lie, also. I think.
Yes, yeah, that is one of
All right. Okay. But what would, in your experience in Power BI and in analysis, which analysis did you do that was a magical moment for you as a person in this field?
You mean like what type of data set, or?
Not the type of data set, but the kind of analysis that you did to draw insights from a certain data set.
So that actually happens quite a lot, that we think our data is saying something, but before analyzing it, we don't really know. And then when we started analyzing it, we realized that, well, this is what we thought is really happening, and this is what is really happening. And they are sometimes, quite often, totally different, because the reality is usually a bit different if you haven't done any data analysis before. So normally there are a lot of aha moments in data analysis.
But so I want to ask specific kind of analysis that you normally run on your data set.
I do a lot of like time-based analysis normally, such as like this year versus last year, year to date. A lot of things that is date and time-based. I do a lot of time intelligence type of calculation. That is one of the things that I do often.
Okay. Aside that.
Beside that, that is really depends on the data set, what type of analysis is required for that data set. Sometimes it might be some like hierarchical analysis. Sometimes it might be really business case related analysis.
Okay. So thank you very much, Reza Rad, for this time, for your time.
Thank you.
I'm sure it's 8 o'clock now in New Zealand.
It should be early morning for you.
Yeah, very early morning. It's a holiday here. I'll hope to catch you up again, especially with regards to data flows, maybe a special session on data flows. So we'll arrange with that, especially for the Ghana user group, so as you would prepare for that interview on data flows, so as you enlighten us on that. But I mean, what are your last words? I mean, to anybody who is using Power BI, or who wants to learn Power BI, or who is actually using Power BI? What are your last words?
Last words, I would say, just like use it, be connected in the community in any way that works best for you, local community in person or remote, like virtual community, social media, anywhere. That would be one of your best resources to get in touch, to learn about things, and then just do it. You learn best by doing it.
All right. So Reza Rad is saying, just do it like Nike. I think that is the best advice anybody can tell you today. Just start something and then you would learn along the way. Thank you very much. Reza Rad has been my guest,
Thank you.
and hope to catch you on another time with specifics. And viewers, subscribe to my channel. Hope to catch you also. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.